You've had a couple days now to look back at it. Just overall, most things you were pleased with, things you feel you need to step it up with after one game.
All glory to God first and foremost, but just looking at the film, definitely think we did some great things on offense, moving the ball when we had to. Definitely seen a lot more man than we expected, so just got to clean some up things with man-on-man routes, me bodying them up when the defender is all up on them. Just little things like that, but I felt like we did well with pass protection. Pass protection was amazing the whole night. My O-line did a great job, and they even dropped 9, and we still got a third down conversion. So I'm proud of my guys who just keep fighting, not knowing all the looks that we are gonna get going into week one. So especially a tough team like Notre Dame, number 5 team in the country. So it's kind of tough knowing that they're gonna do some different things, and I felt like we handled it well all week at practice. So I'm happy with the victory.
How about the grit that you guys showed, especially in the second half when you had to go out and win that game? And there was some old school football out there running the ball with Mayan and Travion. Just talk about the job that they did, and that, knowing that you guys have that in the well.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great feeling. I definitely think that that's something that we've been pushing since the off season. Not just running the ball for 2 to 3, but trying to get 4, 5, 6 every play. And I definitely think that we did that. I know mine averaged 6 yards a carry. I know Trey probably averaged somewhere around there too. So even when stuff wasn't there, like they're running through people, which definitely think you need. But I think that we built that in the off season, just lifting weights and pushing sleds and doing things like that. We definitely changed the narrative on that. I felt this game, and one game doesn't define us, though. We got to keep doing it. So.
Second row right, Doug Lesmerises, Cleveland.com.
CJ, Coach Day was talking again about that play when you rolled out and found Mayan on the sideline. Can you just take us through that play and like what goes into that as a quarterback when you're escaping pressure and trying to find a guy?
Yes, sir. It was a drop 8 coverage, so really 2 to 3 hole players. I just watched it on film, but when you have drop coverage and you have man coverage and you have hole players, it's tough to get cross routes going. So that was our concept. We had a crossing route, and so I'll read the widest defender. He ran out like it was man, so I go through my man principles. I first alerted mine. He had a wheel route, but mine isn't really a burner. So he was decently open at first, but I wanted to see what else could be open. So I kept going through my progressions, and then X kind of got bumped by his whole player, who was the Mike linebacker number 27. And so as I did that, I tried to go back, but then I kind of felt a little pressure on my face, so I rolled out, went through. I knew it was third down, so I wanted to get the first down. I mean, I didn't want to turn the ball over right then and there because, I mean, if that's the case, then it's even worse. But even if we don't get it right there, it's fourth down, we punt, and then if they score, we got to get the ball back and go on a 2-minute drill and win the game. So, I mean, just being the competitive stuff I am and don't mind just being competitive, I just wanted him to come back down, which he did. We had that same rep during practice this week, and it didn't end up going like that. It was actually mine didn't run the route all the way. So this time he actually got it right. I seen him kind of through the corner of my eye, and I mean, I feel like it's something God blessed me with to be able to throw the ball on the run a little bit. So just try to put in the best spot that he can get it where the defense couldn't, and mine did a great job getting his toes in. So it was a great play. Definitely, I feel like that changed the game. Definitely put in the game more in our control. So it was amazing.
I mean, you guys are often so precise in the passing game within structure. How important is it for a quarterback to be able to do that and keep a play alive, and how have you worked on that? How do you work on that? How have you worked on it this offseason to be able to do that in that situation?
Yeah, we call it second part of the route here, basically scramble drill. That's probably like the universal term. So just working the scramble drill right then and there, just knowing the situation. I definitely think we've gotten better at situational football here, just knowing when to start down, knowing that we got to convert and when we don't. So I feel like that was really important right then and there in that game. I mean, and we made it happen, so I'm happy.
Far left, Justin Holbrook, WCMH.
When it's such a big game like that, physical, mental, emotional energy that you guys spend, come back on Sunday to the facility, how do you move on? How do you move off of a top 5 win and say, we have to go face Arkansas State now this week?
Right, yeah, I mean, definitely got to have short-term memory, but at the same time, you got to enjoy your victories. I mean, you got to smell your flowers. So I feel like we do a great job of that here. I mean, we have our champions meeting, and everything here, we're having fun. We had a good time doing that and seeing great plays. seeing EA light some dudes up on special teams was kind of cool. So I had us juiced up. And then after that, we go out and have our Sunday practice. Because they always says we're on to the next week, and then we're on all our focus on Arkansas State. So amazing win, very tough team, top 5, first game of the season, which first game of the season are never really easy, no matter who you play. I feel, unless they're like total bums, but so Notre Dame definitely weren't bums. They're a good team. So really proud of my guys, and now we move on, go to Arkansas State.
How long did it take you to learn to move on, but also appreciate the wins when you were first year, second year? When did you start to learn how to go through that and make a routine out of it?
Right, yeah. It was definitely tough for me last season. Just like we had a lot of big time games last year. I feel like that first game was really big, and I never really like celebrated the wins after until probably like week 6, week 7, and one of my close friends and actually my agent called me. He was like, "Bro, you got to start enjoying your wins because like you work hard, right?" And I'm like, "Yeah," and you really don't realize like the work that we put in is kind of unique. It's very not a lot of people I think can do it. Like the work Coach Day puts in, the work I put in, Coach Wilson, just to get the passing game, the running game, just little things, and you got to just enjoy that because it's tough. You know what I mean? And to be away from your family and things like that, so you got to smell your flowers.
Second row left, Stephen Hellwagen, 24/7 Sports.
Yeah, CJ, I want to ask about Emeka. It seemed like the moment was calling for somebody to step up with Jaxson not able to go, and just you were hoping that this would be a big season for him coming into a starting role. But that game and also everything leading up to it, what did you see out of him, I guess?
Yeah, Mecca, even Marvin, both extremely hard workers. Both are always in the building, working on their game, doing something right. Even off the field, I mean, trying to just make sure their bodies are right. I mean, you see them, they're all buffed up, they're chiseled up. So that just shows how great they are with what they do and how serious they take it, even being so young. So Emeka, yeah, he got to show a little bit of what he can do, even though he can do more. And I feel like even in our past game that he fits it perfectly, him and Marvin. And I feel like that first game kind of just put a little taste to people's mouths of what we can do a little bit. But I feel like we'll do even more and more just with the work we put in and things like that. So Mecca and Marvin, they're two great young players, work hard, great routes, great body discipline, and different things like that. So just super excited to see what they do.
Right behind him, Bill Landis, Rivals.
CJ, going back to the play of mine, it looked like that ball sort of had some backspin on it, like it kind of got back to him on the sideline. Is that just random how it came out of your hand? Are you doing anything with your arm angle or the pressure you're putting on the ball to make it do that to come back?
I don't know. I don't know if it did that. That's cool if it did. I'm not sure. I just threw it. I threw it as try to be as accurate as I could and just give him the shot to catch it where the defender couldn't. He did a good job of placing his body in the right place and giving me good numbers. I feel like when they give me their numbers, they want the ball. So he did a great job of doing that. Even Emeka had a play like that. The drive, I think, prior to that on the sideline again where he kind of cut the defender off and put his numbers to me, and I feel like he wanted the ball, so I gave it to him as best I could. So I didn't try to do anything special. I think that's something that maybe God bless me with, so I'm happy.
With Marvin and Emeka, I think there's a point in the game with Marvin, the ball was a little short. Like you told him to sit maybe a little more shallow than he did. And then there was the one that was behind Emeka where maybe it looked like you were expecting him to settle instead of keeping his route going. It wasn't pervasive throughout the game, just kind of 2 moments that stood out. But how do you, I guess, work through that kind of stuff with receivers sort of in between drives to make sure you're all on the same page with that?
Right, yeah. I definitely think it's just conversation, just seeing what they see, seeing what I see. Definitely just gotta get through those things. I mean, me, Chris, and Gary, and Jax went through that last season. Just filling each other out, trying to make sure that we like what we're doing both ways. I mean, we all got to be on the same page. So it's just different things like that. Definitely not anything alarming. Just got to be better, best on my part. I mean, Marvin didn't do anything crazy. I just got to make that throw. Probably just make it a little harder, throw the ball a little harder. And then I'm not sure the one to Mecca you're talking about, but I mean, I'm pretty sure it was just conversation that we had on the sideline.
Later in the game, he was like crossing over the middle. There was like a little window that kind of was just behind him.
Right. His whole player, Trey's man player ran with him, and if I would have threw a good ball, it would have been a pick six. So, which I thought it was a good ball because I put it on the spot. Only he can get it. If I throw it in a good place, either he bats it down, he gets killed, and I don't want my guy getting killed. So, I think people who know football see that number 8 was standing out there, and he was looking back towards Emeka, so that's why I tried to slow him down with the ball. So, I mean, that's just a football play that I feel like I had to do. I mean, that's all right there. I don't think it was inaccurate. I thought it was a good ball.
I was wondering if you were expecting him to sit a little
Yeah,
bit.
it was the wrong protection. We should have had Trey on the opposite side, but it is what it is. We won the game, so.
Right behind him, Jacob Benz, the Lantern.
Yeah, hey CJ, just your offensive line with some new guards there up front, Paris at left tackle. How did you evaluate just communicating with them, loud environment, and just their play overall as well?
Yeah, they did an amazing job. I mean, Donovan and being the youngest dude on the O-line, he definitely held his own. You could see him in the run game, moving dudes around. Even the first play of the game, I mean, he was going after dudes. So it's exciting to see somebody young like that with that much talent, that much upside. And in Paris, I mean, him going back to tackle off his natural position, did an amazing job on Foskey. Foskey was a really good player on film and definitely did some great things in the game. And I think Paris did a good job of handling him. Same thing with DeJuan. I mean, DeJuan has been just amazing this whole offseason, even in that game. Just his leadership, his vocalness, and of course Luke just setting protections, make sure everything is right, everything is clean, battling through injury, just different things like that our guys kind of up front, and they set the tone. I mean, Matt Jones, I mean, he set the tone. He was sick the whole week and came back and fought with us, so I'm just super proud of him, and I definitely think they did amazing job and kept me clean, kept our O-line, kept our running backs clean, and I feel like they have a lot to work on, but so does this whole team, and I feel like we'll do that.
In the second half, you talked with Perry and Ryan earlier about second half defense. You know, to see the way they, clamped down, grinded it out. How much energy, juice did it give you and the offense to overcome that halftime deficit and ultimately pull out that win? Yeah,
man, it's amazing. I mean, it's definitely a great fun as an offense, knowing that you have a great defense that you can rely on. Even on some of those fourth downs where I thought we were going to go for it, because they decided to punt, which I had no problem with, is because he has so much trust in our defense. So it's amazing just to have our Coach Day trust in our defense again, and even myself not even worried about it. Just knowing that we'll get the ball back, and they did a great job. Tommy had a great game. Tanner, Lathan stepped up really big, and our corners did a good job on trying to stop their tight end, Michael Mayer, who's an NFL tight end, really good player. So I feel like they did a great job overall.
Third row left, Dan Hope, 11 Warriors.
As CJ, Coach Day was saying how Jaxson is somebody who impacts everyone on the offense. Just how does he do that?
I definitely think that he's just that type of person, even off the field. I mean, he's somebody that you kind of gravitate towards. He's very relaxed in every situation, never panics. So when he went down, it was kind of like a shock to everybody. Like, damn, like where's Jax? I didn't even know that he was hurt, that he would not return in the game. I thought he was going to return, but like that, it just affects your whole offense. It's like, he's the best player on our team, if you ask me. So, but it is what it is. I mean, Jaxson, he'll come back and do great things. But yeah, it definitely does affect our offense. Does affect our team because he's just loved on the team on a personal level. So you never want you to see your brother go down, especially you see all the work he puts in the off season and just grinding so hard, and it kind of sucks for him not to bear the fruit of his labor. But it is what it is. God has a plan for him. So
if he can't play this week, what are the things you guys need to do better to make up for him not being out there?
I feel like we did everything that we're supposed to do with or without him. I definitely think everything happens for a reason. So. I feel like X will step up big, Emeka again, Marvin again, JB will have a good game again, and the younger dudes, we're calling them to step up. So it's an opportunity for everybody to have a good game and try to go out there and dominate, try to compete. So I'm not sure what we have to do better than what we did in the Notre Dame games, top 5 teams. So it's kind of tough to just pick them apart all the way. So I feel like as the season goes on, we'll get better at that. So just excited for that.
Right in front of him, Stephen Means, Cleveland.com.
CJ, you're a pretty smart football player. I think you've kind of given off that impression at this point. But Day was even talking about when he's throwing stuff at you, there's even times when you have to tell him to slow down a little bit so you can catch up on stuff. Are there examples of moments when Day's throwing a million things at you and you're just kind of like looking at him crazy?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think we have two different perspectives when it comes to certain things. Like, Coach Day's seen things from him. He played quarterback as well, but he hasn't played in a while. So, but he's seen things from a sideline perspective. And I'm not saying this happened in the game because, we were really clean with our conversations and we were happy kind of with everything kind of worked out, even though it wasn't perfect. But we knew that coming in. But, like, during the week, we didn't know what they were going to do. And we prepared for a lot of their different coverages and fronts and different things like that from prior places that DC was at, Marcus Freeman where he was at. So like Cincinnati stuff, the Bengals stuff, just different things like that. So sometimes he would confuse me. I'd be like, Coach, I'm just gonna go read the coverage and hope everything works out. But I mean, you can't do that. I mean, so he keeps me honest with that type of stuff and make sure I'm fully prepared. So the conversation is always good. Sometimes he does say a lot, but I think I can do a good job of just knowing what he means and knowing what I have to accept and taking into consideration for the game. So.
Back in the spring, you were talking about putting more on your plate, especially pre-snap at the line of scrimmage. What did that mean against Notre Dame? Like, what were some of the things you were maybe able to do this year that you weren't able to do against Minnesota, even against Utah?
Right. Well, this game plan was kind of unique for us. We usually have a lot of checks and a lot of run checks that I have to go through, even pass game checks. And this game, they really just put the protections on me and Luke. So I feel like we did really clean with that. The run games, we didn't know what fronts they were going to bring. So we had universal plays that kind of went with everything. So I really didn't have to do too much this game. But I'm pretty sure as a year goes on, I'll probably have more. So I'm not really too worried about it. We've been working on it for the off season, and I definitely think that we'll be clean when it happens.
What's the dynamic with you and Luke at the line of scrimmage pre-snap? Like, how does that kind of work?
Right. I mean, he's like the vice president. I'm like the president. It's kind of like how it works a little bit. Like he'll make a claim, and I'll either veto it or make something else. So it's the truth. Like he'll set a protection because I mean I'm seeing everything from bird's eye. He's down in the stance, so if I see a rotation or see somebody's triggering, then I can flip it or I can base somebody, which means just he's the ID now. And our running backs did a great job of pass protection. Kind of made us whole, seeing where everything is coming from. Because I mean they're in a scan protocol going from left to right. So definitely, if us three are on the same page, I mean it all works out.
Front row right, Joey Kaufman, Columbus Dispatch.
CJ, when you were talking earlier about the throw to Mayan and escaping pressure, do you feel better handling pressure and being able to move this time than kind of escaping like a pass rush you did a year ago?
I feel like last season I really didn't have those opportunities all the time. Even now, I'm probably am a little more comfortable just moving around. I feel like I'm faster a little bit. My body feels bigger, so I mean I'm not worried about. And I wasn't worried about that last season, but I feel like I am more comfortable with my body and how it works now, being around like 218, 220. So. And I feel like I'm quicker getting out of the pocket on some of those things. So we worked on those things in the off season, and it just made me a little more confident. And then our players, and they're really smart in those type of scramble drills. So I just try to keep my eyes up and make sure that everybody's happy. Because if I just take off and run, I don't think, and the receivers are wide open, then I mean I'm doing them a discourtesy. So I try to give everybody the rock.
How much of that is just being faster and quicker, or having like a sense of where the rush is, and I guess how does that kind of like factor in play versus you being faster versus just sort of your pocket presence?
I definitely think it starts with the pocket presence, just like knowing what type of rush, if it's 3-man, 4-man rush, or if it's a blitz where it's 5, 6-man, even 7-man rush. So even in that zero play with X, they brought zero, and I knew that I wasn't hot yet because they came from depth, the two safeties, and I knew I was warm. So I just had to get it on my hands. So it's just doing different things like that, like how many are coming. I mean, just feeling the pocket presence. So, and then a little bit have to do with my body and how I feel with that.
Right next door, Tim Mays, Letterman Row.
Yeah, get back to that warm, hot thing. When you're up there and you see those two safeties, I think it might have been the first time the whole game they brought both of them. Maybe I'm wrong, but and you've got this Xavier Johnson sitting there. Is he seeing the same thing I am? What are you thinking there? I mean, just go through that whole thought process.
Yeah, I mean,
here's a guy that hadn't played much, you know.
Right. I mean, Coach Day and Coach Fitch, somebody who I hold near and dear to my heart when I go through my game plan and things like that. He helps me out tremendously. So he always tells me to have a game plan for zero, and they didn't bring zero yet. So I mean, but I was ready for it because it was starting long. They like to bring it with Notre Dame. That was kind of their tendency, was bringing it 3rd and 8+. So as I'm going up to snap the ball, I just was wondering like, okay, what's my zero plan? And that's what the play. So that play, we called it earlier in the week, and I was talking to the guys like Jax, X, Emeka, because they play H. And I was like, if we get this play in at zero, do this and that. So that's what he did. So it was kind of cool for it to kind of pay off because sometimes, I mean, we just talk and it doesn't happen. So for it to happen was kind of cool. So I just see them coming from death, took my drop and just try to get on my hand. And X did a good job of setting a good route on his man and winning his route. So it all worked out.
And like you said, I mean, this is Xavier that saw it too. I mean, you know what I mean? He's hardly played. I mean, it's
Right.
just, is that kudos to him for keeping his head in the game all these years, especially, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
he's an OG, man. He's a vet, so he definitely knows the game. He sees it well. He never really has any MAs where he's missing assignments or kind of doesn't know where he's going. He always kind of knows what's up. So I didn't even give him a look or nothing, knowing that I didn't know he knew it was zero until like he made the move that he did, and I was like, okay, now he knows it's zero. So he kind of made the play happen. So it was cool for him to do that.
Thank you, man. We've got time for just a couple more folks. Front, the second row right, Nathan Baird, Cleveland.com.
Coach Day was just talking about that it's nice to have a more experienced quarterback now because of the feedback you can give him during games. Some examples of that during the Notre Dame game where you felt like you made the offense better just by things you were able to go back and tell him?
Yeah, I definitely was just letting them know just the fronts they were in. They were predominantly 4 down front until it was like 3rd down. A lot of man coverage. Then they would mix it up with a little 32 fire, which is basically internal pressure with the two linebackers and drop zone coverage. A fire coverage on the backside, on the back end. So just letting them know different things like that. We thought we were going to get a little more cover 2, a little more 6, which they did run. And a couple of those times we made the play happen. Just coming back to the sideline, giving him more feedback, and because he's not able to see everything, and it's better, I feel like, for a player's perspective to give him what I'm seeing on the field. So it ended up working out, and I feel like that's definitely helped me in my game, just making sure that we're on the same page with Coach Day and the play calling. So it was well.
Do you define success at this stage more by diagnosing like the zero blitz that you were just talking about than aggregate yardage or touchdowns or things like that?
I kind of put our success on winning. I just want to win. I don't care how much I throw for touchdowns. It really doesn't matter. We did all that stuff, so I feel like we'll continue to do that. Hopefully we are the number one offense we want to be, but it's not our main goal anymore. We just want to win games. So, at the end of the day, it's all that matters.
Is that how you decided you're a good quarterback that night, though, I guess is maybe more the question.
I feel like I did some good things. I 70-something% throwing the ball. Had some missed throws. It's the first game of the year. Kind of still have your first game nerves and things like that. So, but when my number was called to make certain plays, I made them. So I feel like that's what I based my game on as well. On top of winning. So I feel like I did some good things. Definitely, you can always work on your game. So I'm never going to be perfect, and I never want that to be the case of me just thinking I'm perfect. So definitely our offense, we're humble, and we're just trying to continue to be the best we can be to win games.
And final questions, third row right, Rob Aller, Columbus Dispatch.
CJ, you talked about this earlier. Next man up with Jaxson, but when he's a friend. He's a good friend. What's your emotions when a guy like that goes down? Not just for the team, but for you.
It's just shocking, just to know, like I said before, this the work he put in, and just for him. It's not nothing crazy. Like, he's not out for the season, thank God. So I'm not too worried about it. But it's just I wish he played. I feel like he would have had a great game. They were doing some coverages that we literally wanted for Jaxson. So it kind of skewed our game plan a little bit, like taking shots and different things like that. So we definitely had to be smart with the ball on my part. So it definitely was tough. But at the end of the day, we won. Jaxson, after the game, I talked to him. He was extremely happy for us, happy for him with the team. And, of course, he wanted to do more and want to be more a part of the game. And he will. Everything will be fine. He'll be good to go the next coming weeks. So.
How do you deal with that? You've been in that situation. He's hurt. When you're hurt, you want to play. Players want to play. If the doctor says maybe no. What's that discussion like with the head coach? You had it last year. Is it just really tough to?
Yeah, it's tough. Because just being competitors and being, I feel like we both have dog mentalities where we want to dominate every time we step on the field or court, whatever it may be. So I definitely think it's tough, but you got to be smart. It's the longevity of the season. It's the first game of the year. I know. It's Notre Dame. You definitely want to play. You've been dreaming about these type of moments your whole life. So it was tough for him, and last year it was tough for me. But you got to be smart. Definitely, you want to be a young pro. So when your number's called, of course, make the play. But when it's time to sit it down, you kind of got to sit it down and just get your body right. Because your body, your best ability is your availability. So.
When you say smart both from the team sense of winning the game and you don't want to hurt the team, but
right.
also from your own sense of, don't want to damage yourself.
Correct. Yeah, you don't want to damage yourself more than you have, so you miss more weeks and more, or you don't want to damage the win. I mean, if Jaxson, if we needed him that bad, Jaxson would have played, but I know that he would have. But I mean, a hamstring something you don't play with. I mean, I had a hamstring my freshman year. You can't even really run for real. So, and that's 50% of his game. So he'll be okay though. Everything will be all right.
You need him Saturday?
I mean, we need everybody. We don't take anybody lightly. I mean, we come to a game where I'm not too. I don't know. Arkansas State's a good team. Shoot, they won last game. They want to know like us. So we'll come in that game and swing as hard as we can.
Jerry, can I ask him one quickie? What did that last touchdown mean for this team, this offense, to go jumbo and push the ball into the end zone based on all the stuff you heard throughout the offseason? You know, you guys playing soft, not being physical, et cetera. What did that just do for you guys?
I mean, it just made it. I mean, it didn't really prove nothing for us. We already knew it was a. I mean, we had that last season. I mean, we're not really worried about what everybody else got to say. We just trying to prove ourselves right. We ain't trying to prove nobody wrong. So, I mean, it was just something that we put the work in. We basically our work that we put in, we bared it. So we bared our fruit. I mean, and that's all that matters. We knew what was up. So, I mean, it wasn't nothing surprising to us. We just had fun out there. So.
And last thing on the mind thing, that play when it happened, how did you feel? You talked about enjoying wins last year. How'd you feel when it happened? How'd you feel when you watched it on film? That throw to mind.
I'm super happy for mine, for real. That's my best friend on the team, and I've been enjoying. I mean, me and him have been talking about moments like this forever. So it was cool just to make the play. I didn't really think about it too much, just having fun out there with my boys, and I don't know, it was fun. So I'm not sure if I answered your question, but
Watching on film, I thought that's pretty good, CJ.
nah, I don't really do that.
Bill, did you want to get a question in? One last question, Bill Rabinowitz.
Bill, you gotta calm, bro. You gotta be chill, bro. You gonna get your question, bro.
We know Notre Dame was a test. They're not bums, right? Not total bums.
Correct.
How big a test will this be for you guys? Because this is not Notre Dame.
Ain't no test. I mean, that was not a problem last year, but I feel like it was a problem, to keep it real. So we maybe play down our competition sometimes, and me personally, that's not something I never want to do. You always want to go out there and prove that you can dominate anybody you step on the field with. So I feel like every week we kind of have the same approach, watch the same amount of film, go through the same routines at practice. We're not going to be light on anything. We're going to make sure everything is done the right way, just so it can be done right week 2, so it can be done right in week 10, week 11, week 12. So definitely nothing will be passed slightly here, no matter who we play. So.
Real quickie, Luke walked out with a boot. If he can't play, how much faith do you have in Madison or Jacob or whoever it be?
Yeah, I mean, we worked these type of scenarios in practice where Luke would step out and Matt will come in or Jacob will come in, and I mean, I've trusted those guys too. I mean, definitely had to make some adjustments to that because Luke is so pivotal in his way to see defenses and see fronts and different things like that. So definitely will be adjustment, but nothing crazy. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, God bless.